Who Johnson that who top on Black Power family? What up? It's your brother in Google. Now you see RANM. And once again, you tuned into RANM RBGz TV. That's right. And you know we keep it G. Raw and uncut common sense for the common people, dealing with the common issues, and you know we trying to seek those common solutions. So here we go. So all in together now, famous say nice, light, and proud. What's the method, the motto, the mantra, motivation, and the madness? You already know what it is, so say it with me. You should know, family, that it is black love, because black love is the cure for the black nation. So let's get it. Alright, man. BAJAN people, what up? What up, what up, what up? Happy 50th. Happy 50th, you know what I mean? Independence. And I do throw the quotations up, whatever, because you already know where my mind is at, everything. You know what I mean? If you woke me long enough, you already know that it is I guess you could say it's a cosmetic thing. And the reason why I say it's a cosmetic thing is twofold. Watch this. First and foremost, let's big up. Let's have, you know what I'm saying? Let's have fun. Do what we do. Turn up. Be safe. Be responsible. You understand? Because, hey, it is what it is. But I will say this. Let's tune in before we turn up. You dig what I'm saying? Tune into what's going on around us, centralized, organized, so we can strategize and mobilize. You dig? The reason why I say that. Now, let's take it to the logo, not the logo, but the motto of Barbados, if you will. What's the motto of Barbados? Pride of industry, right? BAJAN people, if you know anything about BAJAN people are proud as hell. There's nothing you can really tell them. You know what I'm saying? They're good on their intelligence. They know how to think. They know how to, for the most part. You dig what I'm saying? They can articulate themselves real well. They have a rich culture about them, a rich heritage about them. So they're real proud about that. So that's one thing. That's half of the spectrum right there. The second half of the spectrum, if you will, is where it says industry. Pride of industry. Pride of industry, right? Industry, what does that mean? I'm going to take you to the flag itself. You see it, right? The blue, gold or the yellow, and the black, right? Blue, of course, representing the oceans that surround the island itself. The yellow representing the rich heritage, rich culture, rich wealth. And of course, if you look closely, look in the middle, you're going to see a trident. That's also twofold. One, you see the blackness, right? That's self-explanatory. Two, if you look at it, you see it's a broken trident. It's not a full staff attached to the head, right? Pause. It's a broken trident. That's supposed to be representation of breaking away from European, British imperialism, British culture, etc., 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 etc. That thus, independence, right? Okay. Pride of industry. Again, you got the proud part. That's nothing. You ain't got to worry about that one. There's nothing you can tell them. But when it comes to industry, this is where, like I say, it's an illusion per se, because we're still attached. Barbados is still attached to that of the British Empire, other entities or whatever, by way of the IMF, etc., 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 by way of these crazy ass loans with high interest rates that will never be paid back, thus economic slavery, etc., etc. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is basically this. Rhetoric, I don't want to use the word rhetoric out of disrespect, because it's not disrespectful, but follow what I'm saying. Rhetoric needs to change into a model again, and a model again needs to be lived out in practical and tangible times. You feel what I'm saying? That way, there's a real sense of dire pride, if you will. Pride, personal reverence, and deep essence. You already know my acronym, right? So that's pretty much that, but dealing with that, quick little overview. Also, in today, dealing with this 50th anniversary, I want to throw up on record reasons why BAJAN people have a reason to be hype about certain things, whatever. Case in point, the national heroes, right? It's 10 of them. Now, in this episode right here, I'm going to highlight 5 of them. 5 of the foundation, if you will. But if you want to go further, again, there's 10 of them. At the end of the video, I will give you the rest of the names of the other 5 remaining national heroes. You can put the history, the homework together and do what you do, get your result that you get. But nonetheless, this is what we're going to do. So this is RANM RBGz TV, man. Keep it G. This is your brother in Google. Now you see RANM. Again, Barbados, big up yourself. Happy 50th, man. I'm I'm gonna show you something. Here's be proud, man. Be proud. Tune in. Step up. Black Power.
What is a national hero? It's a question that has many answers, because a national hero is many things. An inspirational leader, a selfless provider, a visionary who risks it all to better the lives of others. In Barbados, we celebrate our national heroes every year on April the 28th. And although many of them have passed on, we can't help but wonder what it would be like to talk to them today, to find out why they did what they did on the path to becoming a national hero.
It's okay, General. It's okay, General Prescott. It's okay. My name is Tony Cave, and I just want to ask you a few questions. Now we know very little about you, but what little we know tells us that you're a fascinating freedom fighter. Do you remember how you got to Barbados?
I was at home with my family, and they came for me. They dragged me away in the middle of the night, and they beat me. The next thing I remember, I was on that boat. Men, women, children, tied up like cattle. They cried and they cried. But the more they cried, the more they were beaten. Women were raped. I closed my eyes. I wanted to drown out the screams. I wanted to ignore the stench. I don't know if it was days or weeks that had passed, but I decided to stop eating. Death had to be the answer, but they force-fed me. I wanted to die, but they would not let me. Then one day, the boat stopped sailing. In my country, I was a free man. And now, I am a captive in a foreign land.
General, I know you must have spent your days from sunup to sundown working. And I know your masters never imagined, never knew you were plotting a rebellion. When did you decide that you'd had enough?
Then they rejected the Imperial Registry Bill. The key to our emancipation last November. It upset us greatly. Some wanted to revolt right away, but I said no. We will take them by surprise, and we will hit them hard. Word spread from Bailey's plantation to the other plantations across the island, and we waited and we planned. We had to fight because we were dreaming of our freedom, and we had to let them know it was time that this country be run in our image. So we said that we will revolt at Easter.
But what if it fails?
It will not fail. Even if it fails, it will be the first time in over a century that the freedom fighters came together for one united cause. I am but one man, and even if I die, the rebellion will live on. We will continue to resist. We will continue to fight. And they will remember us.
I'm sure they will, General. I'm sure they will. Mr. Prescott. Mr. Prescott. Good evening.
Is it? I have a paper due tomorrow morning. Thousands of people are depending on it, yet I am here. Where exactly am I?
I'm Tony Cave, and I'd just wanted to chat with you a bit and ask you about your work and about the passion that seems to drive you. Is that a paper you're working on?
Yes, I am the editor of The Liberal. It is through these pages that my fellow blacks, colored and poor whites see the atrocities that occur across this land. From an early age, I saw the power in the pen in highlighting those unfair policies which were only designed to keep us suppressed and bound. And I used it. And I will continue to write so that the laborers, the backbone of this fine land, will not only see themselves as segregated groups, but as one people being abused by the plantocracy.
You seem very sure about your mission, Mr. Prescott.
Yes, if not me, then who? I believe I was born to be a leader in this fight. My mother, Lydia Smith, was a free-colored woman, and my father, William Prescott, was a wealthy landowner. And despite me being named after a rich white planter, Samuel Jackman, my complexion made me the butt of many jokes. And I knew that I would be doomed to doing lowly jobs wherever I worked. But I could never stand being a second-class citizen. So I read, and I read more books, and I educated myself. And by the age of 23, I was ready to defend my people against the injustices with which they were faced.
So was this the reason you entered the House of Assembly?
Sir, if I was not a part of the House of Assembly, we would have never achieved the admission for free people to vote in 1831. I am still waiting the results from my recommendation that the universal adult suffrage be made law. But when I was first elected as a member for the city of Bridgetown, I had my agenda set. I will continue to fight for my rights and my beliefs. Our rights and our beliefs. And with the faith of the masses, I built the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party was made up of a small number of white people who agreed with me, and we acted as the unofficial opposition for 25 years.
So I see now why you are regarded as an enemy of the establishment.
I prefer counselor or advisor. You see, I just want my people to know their rights, so that they can challenge the unfair conditions with which they are faced. The unfair conditions that the plantocracy put on them. I want my people to be educated. I want my people to be free.
Thank you, Mr. Prescott. Mrs. Gill. Mrs. Gill? Are you okay?
Yes. I'm well.
First, let me say what an honor it is for me to be able to sit with you, Mrs. Gill.
I do not believe you've been introduced.
My apologies. I'm Tony Cave, and this is Back from the Past. Mrs. Gill, you are regarded as being the heroine of Methodism in Barbados.
Sir, I am no heroine, but I must tell you this. Perhaps it's because of my upbringing that I always felt the need to speak up for those who had no voice. How those protesters threatened our missionary, Reverend William Shrewsbury, and with his wife being pregnant. It was horrible. It was such a dangerous situation. The good Reverend and his wife had to escape to St. Vincent. It was just despicable.
You mentioned your upbringing and how it influenced your motivation.
Being a colored woman in this country is difficult. Your choices are rarely independent. I can neither vote nor own property, and now the plantocracy wants to tell me how to serve my God. I will not have it. All detractors abhor Methodism because we Methodists despise slavery. How can anyone enslave someone when God created us to be free?
So, is this why you decided to ignore the law and hold church services in your home?
I always knew that regardless of what the powers that be said or thought, we must continue to serve God. And as a result, I hold services at my home.
But isn't that dangerous?
Sir, they can beat me, bruise me, vandalize my premises, even burn me in effigy. We, like all Christians, have the right to worship, and Methodism in this country will live on. As long as I have breath in my body and life in my bones, I will not give up.
Good morning. It's okay. It's okay. I hope you didn't spill your drink. Well, Dr. O'Neill, you are a professional man, and a pretty successful one at that. But I gather you've developed a very keen interest in politics.
Excuse me, sir. My kind of person are you, and why are you inquiring of me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Tony Cave. I'm from back from the past, a television show, and we'd be quite honored if you'd be kind enough to answer a few questions, which I'll ask you.
Oh, this is quite extraordinary. Television? Well, I'm always willing to broaden my horizons. To answer the question that you posed, I would have to start from the beginning. I was born on the 30th of November, 1879. My parents were Joseph and Catherine ONeill. I went to school at the French Primary, the parish school, and then on to Harrison College. In 1899, my father sent me off to Edinburgh University in Scotland to study medicine, and I was very successful there. It was shortly after that that I met a dear friend, Mr. Keir Hardy.
In Britain?
In Britain, who was a member of the Independent Labour Party. He introduced me to politics, and basically that is how my political interest grew.
You probably know that some people see you as a member of a privileged class, the privileged class, but yet you are now interested in fighting for equal rights and for a transformation of society. Why choose this path?
I would not say that I was privileged. But what I would say is that I was fortunate. Fortunate to have grown up in the manner in which I did. I am a black man first before I'm anything else. And when I returned from my studies in Scotland, and I returned to Barbados, the conditions here were so depressing that I just left and went down to Trinidad and then on to Dominica. But I had to return. I could not sit by while my people were being treated like second-class citizens and being deprived their basic human rights. And this deep-seated racism is perpetrated against us all, across all aspects of society. You name it. Education, housing, religion, it is everywhere. So I had to learn to match under the authorities, to force them to pay attention to these social ills.
Well, thank you for speaking to us, Dr. ONeill. Just one last question. Would you consider yourself to be a hero of the people?
A hero? I am just a man fighting for what I know in my heart is right, so that future generations would not have to go through the hardships and segregation that we go through today. I mean, the Democratic League is doing so well that Chrissy Baffert, he was elected representative for St. Michael within just shortly after the League was founded. But we are also campaigning for women's rights. And as you have noticed, women do hold leadership positions in the Democratic League. But eventually, I hope that the steps that we are taking today will lead to more women being involved in politics in the future.
Thank you, Dr. ONeill. Welcome, Mr. Payne.
Where am I? I was trying to get back to Barbados. It's total chaos there right now.
Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is you are in Barbados. The bad news is you are almost 80 years away from where you just were. Luckily, the riots are all over. But we don't have too much time, but there's a few things I would like to talk to you about.
By all means.
Please tell me about your upbringing.
Well, let me tell you, it was not easy. being born in Trinidad to BAJAN parents really expanded my worldview and introduced me to the trade union movement. Although the lack of regional unity at the time led to trouble for me down the road.
I assume you're talking about the immigration woes. How did this actually affect your activism?
You see, that was the principal reason for the unrest. They just up and deported me early one morning, no legal representation. Now I'm hearing that people are dying in the riots that are still raging right now. And although I'm for militant activism, I never wanted my brothers and sisters to be hurt. And the most unfortunate part of the situation is that my labor meetings were built on the intention to have better living conditions, better medical access, better educational access for the poor masses. I just wish I could stand there with my brothers and sisters.
Well, I am happy to inform you that your legacy and the legacy of those who lost their lives has in fact had a very, very strong impact. A commission of inquiry was established, and its findings suggest that all your concerns were in fact correct. In fact, in Barbados you are remembered as a national hero. How does that make you feel?
I just wanted to create a system to lift Barbadians out of poverty and their dependence on the planter class. I wanted to make this island a better place to live, work, play. I just hope that the descendants of those who fought for the right to have a decent life is bright.
Peace, family. Dig this. Before we go any further, right? Hopefully you appreciate what you've seen thus far. Secondly, you already know I represent 432 United ACL. You already know what it is, right? I'm going to show you how Garveyism has an effect on Barbados by way of the Right Excellency Charles Duncan ONeill. Take this clip right here. Watch what this elder is saying as she's breaking down some history and making some connections or whatever. And not for nothing, to be honest with you, that same question that's being asked in this video that you're about to see right here was answered by, you know what I'm saying, I had that same question when I made my journey when I went back to Barbados, well, when I went to Barbados for whatever. And I had the same questions. I studied, and I asked, same thing matched up. So with that being said, sit back, check this out, whatever. And again, I hope you're appreciating this, man. Happy 50th.
Charles Duncan ONeill came back to the island in about 1920. Alexandrina Gibbs, a Carib and a Portuguese woman, had been going up and down trading in Costa Rica and in South America, and she was married to a black man. She met Marcus Garvey in South America, and she brought the Garvey movement here. That is what Duncan ONeill's organization was. The Working Man Association, which was a Marcus Garvey organization, and the United Negro Improvement Association. What Mr. Lorry forgets is that the African in it, because he doesn't want black people to know that the Marcus Garvey organizations were in full pledge here. There were 4,000 members. The black working class with their 7th standard education had great insight, had great knowledge. They talked about China, and they were doing the most dangerous things. Dr. Neil opened and spoke of the small wages which is being paid to the laboring class and the high prices of article in comparison. Dr. ONeill and the Working Men Association began to organize a store in which they ordered things and sold. They were talking about, they were collecting money into, the penny banks, etc. And there were plans to get a sugar factory that they could grind their own canes, because the poor man, they were giving less and less for canes, and the poor man was selling his canes to this sugar factory at a loss. Right. The British, the governor got reports from the police. The police hid in the bushes, went next door and reported everything the Marcus Garvey movement was saying. They described people, descriptions, followed them, made them lose their job, intercepted their mail. And all these people were not preaching insurrection. All these people were trying to do is to feed themselves.
But when it comes to the reason why I did this whole episode at the beginning is when it comes to these different celebrations that a lot of us black folks like to do, depending on whether it has to do with, what region we come from, what we're into, whatever the case may be, we love festivals and stuff, right? 9 times out of 10, there's a history behind it. It's a whole lot more than just soca music and flag waving and rum drinking. There's a whole lot more than that. There's a lot of that. There's a history behind that basically gives you the right to even do all that stuff. Your celebration should have some sort of significance, feel what I'm saying? So it's okay, tap into the history, learn the history, pass the history on, so that way folks can know what certain things is about, and you can have pride, personal reverence, and deep essence, like I always say. But I just want to throw that out there real quick. So, again, Barbados, big up yourself. Happy 50 years. Happy 50 years. Happy 50 years. Happy 50 years. I'll catch you on the next one. RANM RBGz TV, man. Peace.